Okay, first let's orientate ourselves. We're on the TCC-SCV trecvet website, and we're on the TCC-SCV tools page. And as you can see from here, there are two routes from this page. One is the core curriculum, which is the actual outcome of the TCC-SCV project, and the other is the comparison tool, which actually shows the data that was analysed and obtained to actually come to the core curriculum here. And this core curriculum is actually covered by another video. But if we go to the comparison tool, then the comparison tool shows the actual results of the analysis that was made on 7 countries' qualifications to see how they either differed or how they were common to each other. And the results of that is this bar chart. And the bottom of this bar chart, the yellow, represents the common core of knowledge that is the same for every country. So every skipper in each of those countries actually has this knowledge. Now, as you go up the bar, you will find various areas where the blue represents where countries have 6 sets of the same knowledge. Okay, so some of it varies, like these have 6 sets that match in here, but not as many as some of the others, well, which actually some of the others are almost equal. But as you go further and further up, you get more and more specialised to the country's requirements. So up here, for example, you have this area is for France, where they have this specialised knowledge that is required. And if I've just clicked on that, you can find a list of the knowledge that is required specifically for France. It doesn't occur in any other country. And here is all the knowledge, and it gives you the learning subject, the unit of learning outcome, and the learning outcome, and the fundamental elements. Now, fundamental elements are specific to this project. It was designed for this project, and they actually represent the minimum amount of knowledge that is required to give one teaching reference. If you want to learn more about those fundamental elements, then really you need to go to downloads, and you need to download this book, which is the SAF, the Standard Analysis Procedures Handbook, and that will tell you about all the methodology and philosophy of obtaining fundamental elements. And if you actually, there's another book here that you might be interested in, which is actually the actual procedure for finding those elements, but you don't have access to the actual software there, but you might find it interesting. So now if we go back to the tools and we go back to the comparison tool, then again you'll see this common core, where whichever of the yellows you press, you will find, once it starts, you'll find that that knowledge is the same everywhere. So all of these, which is quite extensive, in fact, if you put that on there, it tells you there are 756 elements that are the same for all of these countries. So now if you then click on here, this pie chart will show you the countries that have just single elements specific to them. And as you can see, France has the biggest. So in France they have the biggest number of single elements that are just specific to France. And if you go here, Then Spain is the next one down, who have these specific elements, and it gets smaller and smaller until you come here to Croatia, which has actually only 3 elements that are specific to their country. So if I go back now and we go to another one, which again is France, but it's, if you click on that, therefore you get you get a set of elements which are specific to 3 countries. Now they're not necessarily the same countries, because here you can see that this particular element, which is air density, is only necessary in France, in Spain, France or Croatia. If you come down to the next one, which is pressure change rising and falling, you'll find that that is only required in the Czech Republic, in Spain and in France, and so on. So these matches don't necessarily all group in the same countries. So if you do go on that, then to see where those matches are, you'll see the pie chart again, and that will explain that Spain, France and Croatia have the most matches together. So they have 51 of these elements that appear in those 3 countries, and you can go through that and you can see how all of these countries match up. Okay, if I go onto here again, I'll go to another one. I'll go here. Then you find you come up with a set of competencies that are associated with five countries, and those 5 countries here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, any 5 of the 7 can mix in with this. So what happens is, if you actually click on that competence there, then you get this bar chart, horizontal bar chart, and that competence, which is, in fact in this case, is understands characteristics and effects of weather factors and terms, and you'll see the variance in how that competence appears in the various countries. So some countries, for example Spain, puts more emphasis on those competencies than does, say, Slovenia here, and that just gives you an indication of how those competencies are spread around the countries. So so that basically is the result of the analysis of the 7 countries to come to a conclusion of how TCC-SCV could propose a solution to the problem of mobility of skippers between countries. And if I go back again, then that solution is shown here. And that solution, for your interest, is shown in another video, which I hope you will take a look at. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for listening.